Now, do you need me to assist you with the ball? You have some.
Anybody can.
All right. So at this point, what I generally tend to find is when you bring out toys, no matter what age you are, people get excited. People start smiling, going, "Yeah, it's playtime," because we like. I was going to say we like playing. I'm not going to say finish that sentence. We like playing with toys. Big kids is what we are essentially. So I'm going to hand it over to Eva, who's going to demonstrate and going to help us understand why kinesthetic learning is so important. Have a look at these pictures.
Okay. So I start from the beginning because first we have to understand what is behind that you can improve your brain and lessen your problem with dyslexia by doing juggling, which looks a bit strange. But if we see that what happens, why are there more and more dyslexic persons, which is strange, and why? Because the environment changed our brain, and now there are very different environment where we live and children grow up. So it takes a different way of working, and there are advantages and disadvantages what they can cause. So when we see this, it comes out that especially the sensomotor working system is on a different level when you live in an age where we are with electronic devices. I'm sure I could have my mouth on it, but everybody here has at least one electronic device with you. There is very few people who can live without them, so that's okay, no problem. But lots of background effects are very important, but we have to consider. When the world is more audiovisual, we use a different way of working. It's like, if you see, it's much more holistic approach. And the literal age work differently. Different areas, different functions were strengthened. And when we come to dyslexia, or any such learning differences, it's always that these people, like me, because I am slightly dyslexic, use more the right brain functions and less the left brain. And the word is rather in the school where we need the left brain functions, like reading, writing, and everything what is sequential and step by step. But otherwise, in the everyday life, it's very useful to have these abilities. And when it comes to dyslexia and such similar difficulties, it's not that I am on the right brain, but that I have a very poor connection to the other side, to the left brain. I could use it, because it's not that it's poor, but I can't connect them. And here comes lots of practice, what we can do to connect the two sides of the brain, because there is the corpus callosum, which is, I call, is the third type of information processing, holistic, step by step, and the whole brain information processing, and that's what we want to work out. And it's not only for dyslexic persons, it's good for everybody. Because if somebody is on the left brain working, it's very bad because it's just step by step and not can't see the holistic view, and it's at least as much difficulty, just not in the school, but later in the life. So what I see is Certainly there are many ways of information processing, and we have to go from one to other. So, and that's where we can help a lot if we work out methods that help the whole brain working. And there are ancient methods to train your brain, and it's already worked many thousand years ago. All the strategy games, because it comes from the left brain, the strategy, but these games are visual, so they are together with the right brain. Art and music. Art and music is much from the feelings, so what is connected to the right brain. But on the other hand, it has to go to a form. We have to form something or from our feeling. It's visual, it's sounds or anything that has to be in an order. And certainly all the physical exercises means to use our whole body. All the sports, when you go through the middle of your body, it's always that you have to work with the two sides of your brain, the whole brain working. And it's really easy, and but I find very important that these are already here, and it's always taken like, oh yes, something in the hobbies. But it's not like something is in the hobbies. It's much more important. It should be in everyday life, in the school too. And I think that more and more the chess and such games are in the school, and also art started to go to the everyday life, but less. We see what are the possibilities on the physical exercises. And I started to work with it when I had a dyslexic student. He was 10 when he learned the juggling. And he struggled with reading and so on. And while he learned the juggling, the 3-ball juggling, he learned to read. He got much better and better. His development was really faster. And then we started to use the juggling. Why not, if it worked? And now we would like to see more and more behind. And what we found, that certainly there are lots of other important effects. Not only the two brain harmonizing, but also lots of important elements like self-control. To do what I want to do, to control myself, to control all my thoughts, my brain, my attention. And it helped a lot. And here is something that is, again, an extra advantage when you learn something through practicing, what is easy to learn, but looks very difficult to learn. You feel that, okay, practicing helps me. And it's very important to feel that because usually the main problem, especially after some years of failure, that you don't believe that you are good, really. And that's what we have to change. And I think one way is the assistive technology. Methods what help us. But on the other hand, we have to be really better, not only to use devices and rely on devices, but to feel that I am better and I can do, so I can have a better brain. Otherwise, there is now a movement, the social circus, which we started to work with people who are really not successful in the school, and that way they have a problem to include in the society. So that is a very good possibility. And the juggling, well, do you want to try it? Of course. It's, there are many balls here, you can choose. Here are balls. You will need space and less coffee cups around. That's very important. Because usually that's the worst place.
I'm clumsy.
I use the Irish flag. If you, if you're okay. So
I'm very clumsy.
that's,
I'll try it.
okay. Anybody who, if you want. No, okay. First, you will see that you don't do what you want. But
I start with 2 or?
no, always with 1.
Always with
So take first 1. It's better, yeah?
Yes.
With 1 ball. And that's what the school is problem, that in the school they always want too much from us.
Okay.
So the whole thing you will do is the ball from one hand to the other.
Okay.
Whole play.
Is there any benefits of passing it on?
Not yet. Later. First the base. So it's about at your. That's perfect, yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. So it looks easy, but it's not so easy. Yeah. So so we will do always only that, not
Okay.
more.
Yeah.
So now you can take another ball.
Okay.
That will be the tricky part because that was on pom, pom, and now pom pom, which means pom pom. The rhythm is very important, you know, for dyslexic person. That's something we can have a lot. So the 2 balls here they have to meet.
Okay.
And that's very important that they meet up. Pom pom. Ah, yes, that's very good demonstration. That those who learn to pass. No. So it's very important that you don't pass.
That you don't pass.
Because that when you stuck in 2 balls.
Okay.
Because 3 ball juggling means that you always up. So please start from your left hand. Because you have to take out
You know, I'm left-handed.
the yellow hand.
Okay, that.
Does it matter where you start from?
Only for you, because you do that, and you have to forget it, and that's why you have to do on the other way.
So I have to forget what I know.
Yes, exactly, because that was the trap, and it's very important because many times dyslexic persons are taught on a wrong way because not as they should. So first they can't have the knowledge. No, they start please from. Okay.
Wipe up your memory.
Yeah, up.
That's good.
Yes,
what's going to happen.
no, up from the left. Yeah, up. No. You can do it. So that's perfect. Yes, Mikey, that's perfect. So try that. It has to meet up there.
It has to.
Up.
Or both of them have to be up together.
Here, there. Yes, here.
Okay.
Up. They have to meet up here. And if you can do that afterwards, yeah, pom. Just pom. Slow down. Please. Because, yes, that's very important. Many dyslexics are hyperactive and but some of them are too slow. But the gravity knows. That's something you have to forget if you want to have the 3 words.
Keep doing it.
Yes, up. Pom. That's good.
Okay.
Just no, that was better. Now you have to sing.
So lose focus.
No, you do the same thing. And that's very important because it up. Okay. One point. You can do that. Don't catch it. Just with both hands up.
Okay.
Up,
Okay, that
up.
one is easier.
And you did the best. Did you see? You did the good thing.
Can I ask, at what stage do you go to 3 or do you get in the doing?
I think on that level, they've got the task
The basics.
to have the two.
To have the 2. So that would be your
Yes.
homework. You go up and you
That's one, yeah. And I can give you another task if you don't like that thing.
Yeah.
You can learn the 3-ball juggling from one hand.
Huh?
If you learn this, that's the same. And you can learn it from that. If you can't get out. So up, up from one hand, and then you just put it. Yes? It's an emergency.
Yes.
If you can't get it a new way, but I think you did very well already, and you can start also with that.
Now, I'm considering if you have 25 people in the room and they're doing all this, everybody's going to get all excited and start laughing. At what stage do you kind of...
The next stage, you can start with it.
Yes.
That you are already good for pom-pom. And now, pom-pom-pom, which is only that you start always where you have the 2 balls.
Yeah.
Pom, and you just...
Two hands, pom, pom.
Pom, pom, no, one.
Oh, okay. So,
One from here, one from here, one from here. And you do nothing else, just if you see my hands, and it's the alternate working. And many dyslexic persons haven't got in the childhood that crawling,
okay.
because it's the problem. Now here you can learn the crawling up alternate working.
Excellent. Excellent.
So it's, you were very close. Just start. One here, one here, one here, one here. Yes?
It is hard.
It is very hard.
Up, and up. That's good, very good, very close.
What I would suggest is that you would have a video of this for them to look at,
Yes,
and also demonstrate how they can create their own.
Yeah, I can demonstrate. It's easy to demonstrate because it's here.
You have it there as well.
Not very high. Not very high.
So
Not very high.
Now,
you can have your own ball. It's again, you can use your hands, which is a sensomotor
yes,
working.
yes.
So it's there. So you need 3 balloons,
Yes.
some seeds or rice or flour. You can use anything. And then you can fill the first balloon.
Yes.
You can use half plastic bottles for that's easy. And then filling is pushing, pushing, pushing. And the first balloon is cut at the end. The second 2 are cut deeper, the next 2 balloons.
And you wrap them.
And then we just turn the first, and then turn the second on it. And that.
And that's it.
And that's it. So it's very easy to feel. Even young children can do it. So from age 7. So if you see, it's like this.
Ah, yes.
There is another thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's so easy.
Well, I think that would be the most enjoyable part of that workshop. Because it gets people smiling, it gets people moving,
Yes,
and also learning.
Yes, I think it's very important to have the 2 sides.
Yes, I think so.
The culture what we live in is the digital age. It's very good. But we are still people from the nature, and the old human culture is like strategy games, art, and anything that is physical movements, and it's very important.
What I would just finally relate that back to is that we now live in a world where we don't just need to have content knowledge, we don't just need to have digital literacy. What Eva just said, every economy now, every country wants strategic thinkers. They want problem solvers, people that can think on their feet. And I think having that simple exercise gets people to realize that dexterity and that helping you become more in line with harmonizing your both sides of your brains is important. I personally think that's really good. I really think that's good. So that's the final part of the workshop itself. And what I would suggest at that point, you would either A, have them keep the balls themselves, or give them kind of a direction how to create their own.
You can keep, you can keep, and you can keep, yes. You can choose other,
This is what you have
the
to learn.
three. You can choose three, because you will practice if you practice already.
But first I have to stop one habit and then develop another.
But
Yes.
that's
This
life.
is my problem.
But that's life.
Yes. You can choose which one you want.
So Eva,
Yes, questions? If you have any questions.
Eva, does this mean that all jugglers are good readers?
No. Other way. Many jugglers start to juggle because they feel that they need it. So dyslexic young people many times start such things just because there is their problem with that. They are not good in it. And everybody says that don't do because you are not good in it. But they would like to do that. And many who starts and gets over the problem, the beginning, and they can be very good. That child who I mentioned, he is now an international juggler.
Wow.
So he became on a higher level a juggler than the average. We don't have to be on that level. It's enough. The three-ball juggling is the best for the brain because it's just alternate hand working, and that helps the two sides of the brain to put together. Otherwise, the juggling, that cascade, that means cascade, was compulsory for the women in India in the ancient time. And I just asked the young person in your firm from India, and he said, yes, my mother knows it, and she can do it. And it's very important that even if you are looking at, that was great that you said, even if you are looking somebody who is doing that, it's good for your brain, because your brain does it. So anybody can learn it, it's very good, because now your brain is starting. When I do it, your brain does the same. And that's why it's very important to have, and there are many videos I suggest how to learn three-ball juggling. And first, you have to watch. It's a big help, because your neurological system will work already. You just need the control, and that's what I mentioned, that the control. You could not do what you wanted.
Exactly.
It was it. And anytime you learn something new, because it's just your control system is always again and under work, and it's always developing for your brain. It's one of the best brain trainings.
Absolutely.
But this is, I know you're putting it in the context of dyslexia, but
For everybody,
okay.
yes, it's not only for dyslexics, it's especially good.
Yeah, of course.
But for everybody to use the whole brain, it's very important. And that's why not the two ball is enough, because it's not going that way, alternating. It's just making like this. So two balls, it's good, but not as good as the cascade. The three one. The cascade means that and your hands go up and down alternately.
That's fantastic.
How many people here can do it?
Everybody can do.
Yes, Yes, yeah, here we've got this one. And
Actually, no.
and it's because it's very important because people start with that, and then people stop because you can't, because there is you can three. Lennox could do with three around, but it's very difficult to do it like you do it in circle.
After tonight,
So here are balls. You have the three balls, both of you. Yes. Enough. Some more. It's enough. So rest is rest. No.
oh,
You are. Next time I teach you the four. It's different.
okay. Yeah, I'll take them. Okay, awesome. No problem. Okay, so at this stage, your workshop would come to an end. You've gone through the three elements of smart technology: visual learning, auditory learning, kinesthetic learning, and I know which one is the most fun. You combine all of those together, and your students will take away what we hope are very good and very useful skills that they can impart either on a family member or within their own classrooms and in their own professional careers. Now, as the two students that just took part in that, I'd like you to think, not immediately, but think over the series of tonight and maybe tomorrow, the elements of what you've just gone through today, and in particular, the overall quality of materials and exercises, how we blended the talking element with the actual physical element, and you doing stuff, and the real world relevance for potential students. How useful are these exercises and skills for students and for teachers and educators? What could we do? Timing and resources. Remember, when we run these workshops, timing is imperative. We have to do workshops that either have a lot of content in a lot of time or small content in small time. You don't ever want to overrun or have not enough. You want to have a good optimum, so have that in mind. And then I'd like you to think of suggestions for related topics or improvements. I'm not going to ask you for all of that now, just think about those elements. But what we would be really happy with now is if you could give us some instincts whether you thought it was useful or not useful in general. And please, no offence, you're here as a critical friend, not anything else. And lastly, thank you so much for taking part. I really do appreciate that. Okay, so is there anything that we can take from this? From either of you, both of you? Do you think it was useful? Do you think we could use this and package it and send it out to the real world?
I think so.
Yeah.
For me, the mind map, maybe just the software, I've used a lot of mind maps.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. I think this is the best mind map I've seen. Not just because it's free, but the usability and ease of use, and the way you can manipulate words and things.
Yeah, good. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, that is brilliant.
Brilliant.
And the MP3, to me, I'm a very auditory person, so if I could put your MP3, maybe your iPad or something, your iPod or something in your ears and listen to your notes without turning up pages.
Sure.
You know,
that would be good.
That would be amazing. As you say, you can lie in bed, you can, just chill out and listen to your lecture notes without sitting down when you do all the effort of turning books and things. Yeah. The social juggling. I'll come back to that one. I need to go practice. I need to go practice more. I'm still trying to comprehend how that would affect the mind of the students. I understand it, but I want to, process it more and understand how it does, in the long run impacts the, knowledge and, the reading and writing and all the, educational skills of the student.
Well, that's what we want students to think like that. We don't want anybody at any level to blindly accept our technologies or our strategies. Every one of us are critical thinkers, are problem solvers in the real world, and we want our students to think like that as well. You don't want them using your technology or your strategies just because you said so, but because they've come to that realization themselves, based on your interaction, based on their thinking and their reflecting. That's the most beautiful thing about education is that it's not just a transfer of knowledge, it's a co-construction and shared understanding that's really important. Thank you so much, that's amazing. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think looking at it from a more holistic perspective, of course, this in a way taps into the whole idea of, okay, at the moment we have loads of technologies out there. And to be honest, sometimes it can be overwhelming, not just for the educators, but for students as well. You know, where to start, what to do, you know, there are very many out there, shall I pick and choose? So I think the advantage here is it's quite time-saving that you can point out particular tools and point somebody to a certain direction and say, you know what, that particular tool is going to do this and that for you. Sure. And it's going to help you save a lot of time. You know. So in that sense, I think when you talk about packaging and all that, you know, there is a clear niche there in the mid of all the technologies and running around and whatever is out there. This is advantageous in pointing out particular skills and making it much more easier for those who want to use it. A very good example, like AJ was saying, is the mind maps or even the RoboBraille conversion things. Now, many people may not have thought about it as an option, but even if you did think about it as an option, you know, in the way that it just doesn't cross your mind that it would be there to help you. So in the way you know, okay, that is an option I can consider. But even when you consider it as an option, you don't have to go around in circles. You know, Google went for what options Google will bring. So that is quite advantageous. Then in terms of typical again with tools, at least this I found with working with students in basic ITs, is that they always found things abstract. Even the tools, you're talking about Word, PowerPoint, things that you expect them to use, but for whatever reason, the questions that were asked seem to imply that there is that abstractiveness, and the only way to bridge it is by putting context. So for example, in my case, the group I was working with were coming from different subject matters, different courses and in NCI. So the best way I could think of doing it to bridge that abstractiveness was to refer to particular exercises. For example, what exercise do you have to hand in tomorrow? Okay.
Personalize it for that person.
Exactly. Yeah. So then I found that there is a bridge, it bridges that abstractiveness with that comes with tools, you know, because if it's abstract, then forget about it. So I think that would you know, add, especially for the set of exercises, and I think throughout, in some cases I've seen it, and I think you've also given the example of the contexts that were presented, for example, in the last one by Sven. Yes, exactly. So those will help a lot, and again, when it comes back to the whole overview, you know, just putting that context into and feeding it in.
I think so. I think what you're touching on, we want these workshops to be effective, but we also want them to be meaningful for their lives. So always take that into consideration when you're designing these and personalize them for yourselves. When you're faced with the students in front of you, try to think how these technologies and how these skills will affect their lives. Not just in the abstract way, but in a real meaningful way. Will it help them pass their exams? Will it help to become critical thinkers? Will it help motivate them and to think better of themselves as people in general? And I think it will. I think these skills and these technologies will help boost the person a lot more than just giving them a handout. So it's participating. Remember, it's a human relationship in the classroom. It's a performance. Not just the juggling, but everything that we've done today is performance. And as educators and presenters, we need to keep that in mind. Engaging with our audience, making sure that they're getting on with the exercises, and just scaffolding their knowledge as best as possible. So I thank you so much for taking part.
Eva's last thing was quite good in bringing out that example, because she consistently referred to the usefulness in either developing a brain or so. then you start to wonder, you know, is it just for dyslexic? No, it's for general.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So I think that brings it out clearly, and that particularly could be applied to all the others. You know, the particular usefulness in either work or profession or social life. Or
And if we can get people thinking that way, then we've done our job as a consultant. Get people thinking how they can use these things to better themselves, not just in a classroom, but in their lives in general. I'm going to wrap it up there, and I'm just going to say thank you so much for you all for participating today. I've really, really enjoyed having you today. It's been really, really cool. And I'm looking forward to this evening's social activities, coming here later on, have a few drinks, have a bit of a song, and then going out for dinner later on. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you to our two student evaluators. Excellent job. Really, really cool.